April 2024, El Paso. Border Patrol had Alexis Cedillos-Campos in custody. He hands agents a Maryland address, and Joe Biden's DHS turns him loose. 2 years later, Carmen Lisette Puch, 42 years old, a mom, stabbed to death by a hiking trail in Great Falls. And what he did after she was dead is even worse. We're talking about 450,000 children who went missing under the Biden administration. President Trump's DHS has found 146,000 of them, so do the math with me. Nearly 300,000 kids still gone tonight, and Secretary Markwayne Mullin says he had to stop smiling when he read the case files because some of those kids were raped repeatedly. A number I don't even want to say on camera. But that is what Biden's open border bought. So stay with me because I'm going to roll a clip where Julio Rosa corners Alejandro Mayorkas in an airport and asks him point blank if he regrets any of it. Watch what Mayorkas says, but watch his face if you do anything. And now a separate bulletin, and it's one the networks keep off the crawl. Open enrollment pressure is building nationwide, and millions of seniors are overpaying for Medicare. So Patriots, this is not an accident. Big insurance runs on confusion, the mailers, the robocalls, the fine print, and the people who profit from it. They're not going to fix it. And here's what didn't make the broadcast. There is a newsroom for your Medicare. It's called Chapter. Independent Medicare advisors, the only advisors comparing every plan nationwide, not the handful some call center gets paid to push. Chapter reviews your doctors, your prescriptions, and reports back the truth. If you're already on the best plan, they will confirm it. No obligation, no pressure. If you're not, they'll help you switch. One call, under 20 minutes, and it costs you nothing. The number, 910-728-4109. Somebody should be investigating your file now. Let's get back to what happened in Great Falls. Fairfax County detectives say that the murder appeared to be premeditated, and Cedillos-Campos tried to set Carmen's corpse on fire. He tried to burn her. This was not a fight that got out of hand, and Fairfax is a sanctuary jurisdiction. Now let's take a look at these posts together. DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin exposed the pure evil, innocent children trafficked across the open border.
Of the worst. You know, I tell people that I haven't quit smiling since I've been Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, but I have to take that back because when we start digging into these cases and you start hearing the absolute horrific things that took place underneath the Biden administration, under true neglect at best and criminal at worst, to allow 450,000 kids to go missing throughout this country. President Trump has made it a point to go find these kids. And because of our partnership with HHS and DOJ, Department of Homeland Security, truly using the best, which the Democrats sometimes want to demonize because a lot of times this is ICE, this is HSI, this is CBP. These individuals that the Democrats seem to want to defund, but because of President Trump, we finally funded them for 3 years. We're able to push and go find these kids. We found 146,000 kids so far. 146,000 kids. We still have nearly 300,000 missing. We're investigating reports to where some of these kids claim that they were raped 600 to 700 times. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have kids, if you don't have kids. I don't care if you're a liberal, you're independent, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. If you can't stand for law enforcement to go find these kids, who are you? Who are you? Every leader should understand what's going on. And do you know where we're finding the most of them? Sanctuary cities. Because they know they're safe.
Not anymore. They're all getting hunted down. 146,000 found, nearly 300,000 still missing. So hold on to that number. The devil whispered in my ear, "You're not strong enough to withstand the storm." Today I whispered in the devil's ear and said, "I am the storm." Let's get back to the story here. The 2025 crime numbers just dropped and violent crime fell 9.3%, the biggest annual recorded record. In Fairfax County, police say the 19-year-old Alexis Antonio Cedillos-Campos was arrested.
Fairfax County Police announcing this morning they've arrested 19-year-old Alexis Antonio Cedillos-Campos for the brutal killing of Carmen Lisette Puch, a 42-year-old mom who was found stabbed to death near a popular hiking trail in Great Falls. Police say the two of them were co-workers and had an intimate relationship.
Fox reports DHS confirms he crossed illegally in El Paso in April and was apprehended by Border Patrol.
Now, DHS confirms to Fox that Cedillos-Campos crossed the southern border illegally in El Paso, Texas, back in April 2024. That's where he was apprehended by Border Patrol. Federal sources tell Fox he gave agents an address for his father in Maryland, and then he was quickly released to the country by the Biden administration.
It's just another Maryland man, right? Here's the part that matters. DHS confirms he crossed.
Fairfax County Police say the murder was especially brutal, appeared to be premeditated, and Cedillos-Campos tried to set Puch's corpse on fire.
No one deserves to be treated the way that our victim was treated, and she was stabbed repeatedly by our 19-year-old.
Blaze Media's Julio Rosa says Alejandro Mayorkas how it feels to see that the U.S. border has been secured.
I wanted to ask you how it feels to see that the United States has a secure border now that President Trump is in office, as opposed to when you were Secretary of Homeland Security. Do you have any regret facilitating an open border, sir?
Yeah. He just cornered on camera by Julio Rosas. Here's more.
Border crossings are down 95%.
Security announcement. Please maintain.
Do you regret allowing Tren de Aragua to gain a foothold in the United States, sir?
Unattended baggage is subject to search, inspection, damage, and removal.
You don't have anything to say, sir, about your time as Homeland Security Secretary?
Of course not. No answer. So he goes at him again.
Facilitating an open border? I mean, it was a big...
Still nothing, and it reminds him why President Trump won.
Do you have regret about losing track, of facilitating the losing track of all those thousands of migrant children that are handed over to HHS?
Please move forward to next door. Please do not enter the corridor. Doors are closing. Please clear the door.
How does it feel that because of the Biden and Harris administration's policies, mass deportations actually gained the majority support? I mean, sir, Tren de Aragua didn't have a foothold in the United States before you guys came into office. It's a pretty big issue, right?
Oh, wow. Wow. But you heard him say, quote, "No one deserves to be treated the way our victim was treated, stabbed repeatedly by our 19-year-old killer." That's a Fairfax County detective saying out loud about a woman who'd be alive tonight if Alejandro Mayorkas hadn't turned that kid loose at El Paso with a scribbled Maryland address and a bus ticket. Subpoena the people who signed those release orders. That's our demand. Not a hearing, not a task force. Names, testimony, consequences. Carmen Lisette Puch is dead. Almost 300,000 children are still missing, and Alejandro Mayorkas can't get one sentence out in a hallway while a recorded voice tells him the doors are closing. Nobody's been charged. Nobody's resigned. Nobody said sorry. And here's what proves it was a choice. Crossings down 95%, violent crime down 9.3% last year, murder down 18.1%, biggest drop ever recorded. It could have been fixed any day. They picked this. Say her name in the comments and share this with somebody who still calls it a talking point, because the fight over who gets to know this stuff is its own battle. Cedillos-Campos was in federal custody, and legacy media buried that detail. So let's get you the reports before they get sanitized. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network carries credentials inside that building. And what our press pool pulls out of there lands on your phone every night ahead of whatever YouTube decides you're allowed to see. Now, reading it is step one. Some of you do want a job. You want an assignment. You want to take action. Well, text that word signal to the same number. Enlist in the Next News Signal Corps. We'll tell you exactly where to push a story like Carmen's. Real missions, real ranks in a command center. So come get in the room with us tonight.